Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final gets going tonight here inside Rogers Place in Edmonton. Dennis Bernstein, David Pagnotta, getting ready for the first of how many?
7.
We'll wait and see. It's our coverage here of the 2025 Stanley Cup Final here on TFP, presented to you by Carlsberg, probably the best beer in the world. Dennis, AJ Greer out for the Florida Panthers. Jesper Boqvist is in his slot. And Connor Brown is a game-time decision, according to Coach Knobloch. According to Brown, he's good to go. So we'll see kind of where that goes in warm-up. We'll take a look at that. But the bulk of this team intact, minus Zach Hyman for the Oilers.
Sure. Dislocated wrist, torn ligaments, maybe not even ready for training camp, but you can't worry about that now. Best against best right now, a rematch of last year's Stanley Cup Final. I think it's going to be another 7-game series. Looking forward to tonight.
Yeah, this is going to be a shot. We talked about it yesterday, a shot-for-shot kind of series. I think it's certainly going to be a little bit different than what we saw last year with Florida taking a 3-0 lead and Edmonton coming back in this one to 4-7. What are some of the factors, the key factors for you tonight, specifically in Game 1? Change of scenery. Game 1 started in Sunrise last year. Here, it's in Rogers Place.
I think the X factor from a player standpoint, I know a lot of people talking about Sam Bennett, the physicality. He knocked out Stolarz. He's the leading goal scorer for the Panthers in his playoff run. Not Carter Verhaeghe, not Sam Reinhart, not Barker. Sam Bennett has 10 goals. So I think his offense has to continue if they want to repeat as champions.
We talked so much about that element, what Matthew Tkachuk brings to the table, the depth that they have. Brad Marchand wasn't part of this group last season for the Florida Panthers. The Oilers didn't have to face him in this type of a setting. How much of an impact do you think he's going to have from Florida's side of things, and how much will Edmonton have to focus on number 63?
Big game players make big plays. They have to focus on him. They have to be aware when he's coming on the ice because he's a secret weapon for that third line. They had the top 2 lines, and I mentioned before, Marchand deferred and said, no, I'm happy to play in the third line. I want to win a championship. So they'll have to account for him. I think at some point in the series, he's going to be a factor in a win for the Florida Panthers.
What about on the other end of the spectrum? Evander Kane is going to be part of this one. We all know, of course, no Zach Hyman is a blow. There's no question about that. We don't have to sugarcoat that. But the depth the Oilers have exploited so far in these playoffs looks like they're able to kind of combat the fact that they don't have Hyman there.
Yeah, a guy like Matthias Janmark. What's his nickname? Playoff Janmark.
Yeah.
Right? That's the type of guy. They've gotten great play from him. They got great play from Adam Henrique, which you'll have to when the third and fourth lines get great play from their centers, because I think with respect to lines, I think you got 3 good lines for the Florida Panthers. You got 2 for the Edmonton Oilers. So if one of those 2 guys have a great series, then absolutely they can win this final.
How do you think? The Oilers are favored coming into this series. How do you think Game 1 plays out tonight?
I think it's more important for the Edmonton Oilers to get home ice and hold serve here tonight. I think if the Florida Panthers leave Edmonton with a split, maybe win Game 2, but it's important because you don't want to get behind the 8 ball like you did last year.
Yeah.
Right? That's the one thing you want to avoid. So I give a slight edge, and it's going to be slight edge throughout the series for me for the Edmonton Oilers tonight in Game 1 here at Rogers.
Yeah, for me, opposite in terms of slight edge. I think we're going to see a slight edge as the series progresses in Florida's favor. But I think tonight here, home ice, Game 1 in Edmonton, I think the Oilers pull this one off. I think it's going to be a tight one. And it's going to have to be because, as we've seen throughout the Eastern Conference Final, the Florida Panthers really pounced in the third period. So Edmonton is going to have to be cognizant of that. I'm sure they are. And they're going to have to hold fort as the game inches closer to the final buzzer. But I do anticipate a Game 1 win for the Oilers. We'll see how it plays out. We will catch you after the game here inside Rogers Place. Dennis Bernstein, Dave Pagnotta, our coverage, as always, brought to you by Carlsberg.